Hello, welcome back to Pixelpia. In today's video, we're gonna take your Midjourney skills to the next level by diving into something really exciting: artistic styles. One of the coolest thing about using Midjourney is the ability to influence the style of your image, whether you want something that looks like a classic painting, a vibrant comic book scene, or even a hyper-realistic photo. Knowing how to guide the AI style choice can make a huge difference in your final results. So by the end of this video, I hope you will know exactly how to use the style commands and even your own reference images to get the artistic look you're aiming for. First, let's talk about what we mean by style and style commands. Simply put, these are special instructions you include in your prompts to tell the AI what kind of artistic style you want it to use. For example, you want a dreamy, impressionistic look. You might add something like in the style of Monet to the end of your prompt. Or if you're going for something more modern, you could try futuristic digital art. These commands will help AI understand the aesthetic you're looking for. So let's move over to my Midjourney, and I'm using the website for this and version 6.1. So here we are in my Midjourney. We are on the Explore page right now, and at the top we have the area where we can write our prompt. I'm gonna click to the right here and adjust my prompt settings. In this case, we're gonna make square images, and we use model 6.1 in standard. I don't have personalizations mode on, and I have put all the aesthetics down to 0, so it's influenced as little as possible with Midjourney's own aesthetics for this. So let's just click back out of that. One of the easiest way to influence the style, as I said, is to reference to a well-known artist or art movement. For instance, if you're adding in the style of Van Gogh, you will get something with bold colors and swirling, expressive brush stroke. Or if you're a fan of pop art, you might add in the style of Andy Warhol to get those bright, bold colors and simple forms. So what I have done is I have tried 3 different art styles. What I used as my prompt was a city street at night in the style of. And let's go to my create page. And you can see here they are. First, I got a city street at night in the style of Van Gogh. And if we take a closer look at them, you can really see the Van Gogh style here. Next, I choose a famous photographer, a city street at night in the style of Annie Leibovitz. And here we have those images. And finally, a city street at night in the style of Paul Klee. And as you can see, if we go back to the Explore page itself, style of these 3 artists is very different and really comes through in these images. But there is other ways you can affect the style, not just by choosing famous artists or art movement. You can also specify a genre or a medium. For example, you could say fantasy, watercolor painting for a soft, ethereal look, or cyberpunk digital illustration for something more edgy and futuristic. These genres will help the AI understand the vibe you're going for. So let's try again the same prompt here. If I just hover over here, you see use text. And I take away in the style of the artist here and instead in a digital illustration style. And let's see how this night city scene changes when I ask for cyberpunk digital illustration. And you see we have the typical pinks and neon colors here in that style. And if we take a closer look at them, here we didn't reference an artist, but we still got a very different look. But what I like the most is the ability of using other images. These are the Explore page, and if I scroll through here and I find something that a style, a vibe that I really like. Let's see. Let's take this one, for example. They had added travel poster in block print digital art. So what I can do is if you go down here to use at the bottom right, you can use the prompt, which is not what I want to do. You can use the style or you can use the image. If you use the image, it keeps almost the same objects, but the style can be whatever. If you use style, you can write the prompt with totally different objects, but it uses the coloring and the lighting. So we are going to try both. We start with style, and as you can see, you have a little copy of that image up here. And if you look at the bottom, it has this little paper clip that shows you that this is a style reference. So let's say that we want this to be a city street at night. And let's take off the cyberpunk here because now we have a style image here, a style reference from that image. And let's see how that will affect our prompt. Let's use the same prompt again and let's go back and see if we can find a city street here, and we will use that as, let's search for city street. Okay, let's choose this, and this time we're gonna use this as the image reference. We want it to look something like that, but we want a different style. So let's see something that, let's pick this one. That's very different from the style that's in the original and add that as a style reference. So now we have, this is the image reference. This is something that I want it to look like, and with this style reference here. And let's see how that will look. And you see it's very much identical to the image we had as image reference with the crossing in the foreground here and so forth. But the style is more in these yellow and blue tones. We can also upload our own style reference images. So let's show you. I am in Create. I click the little image here. And here I have images I have uploaded earlier. But let's choose this one that I have created earlier in Midjourney for a totally different project. So I click on that, and now you see it is the little image reference here. But I want it to be a style reference. So I click on the little paperclip, and now it is a style reference. It will pick the colors and the lighting and the mood from this specific image. And let's say that I want a city street in the night. And let's see what we get from that. And you see, it's picked up the colors with the moody sunset here in the last image very well. So let's sum up today's episode. Using style commands and reference images in Midjourney can totally transform your creative process. Whether you're referencing a famous artist, uploading your own images, or blending different styles, the possibilities are endless. And don't be afraid to experiment and have fun with it. The more you explore, the more you'll find what works for your creative vision. In my next video, we will start exploring the new editor that is on Midjourney's website and a very interesting tool when it comes to editing your images. I would go so far as call it a game changer. So if that is something you are interested in, you know the drill. Subscribe, hit the bell, and make sure you get notified on when that video is up. Until next time, be creative and have fun with it. Bye.